it's a fun script, and I hope that we can get it made. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I think we can get it made. I think it's very, very possible. It's just at this point in time, I'm like, what are we going to get it made at? Are we going to get it made with the amount of money that it would take to really do it right? Or are we just going to be doing it like this, where we're just
Yeah,
zooming? Which, I mean, if this is doable, it'd be nice to be in the room, right? But if this is doable, why not cut down on the budget? So,
right.
no.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it is a fun script, but it was a fun.
Oh yeah.
How crazy was that article that I sent you about John Fusco's book? What was it? Something dog?
Yeah, I don't remember the title, but it was pretty uncanny how close it was to a very similar plot point in this,
Yeah.
or plot story in this book.
So for the record, when did you finish writing this book?
So I wrote it was initially a play called Halfway There, and
Mm,
that full play is available on YouTube. And we ended up, I didn't even know it, but I had submitted to the Houston World Fest Houston, and it was basically I had written a play, I wanted to do something, and I only had enough money for two people in a room talking, essentially. And as a writer, once you get going, you have a hard time shutting these characters up. And so I ended up writing about a 30-page play, and I was like, I want to shoot it. And we ended up shooting it, and the runtime's just over 33 minutes. Long story short, I submitted to World Fest Houston, which has been running for 50 years at the time. This was back in 2017. We shot the play in 2016,
mm.
and I didn't even think we got accepted. Somebody had reached out from a different email and said, "Where do you want us to send your award?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
They're like, "You were the winner for the best dark comedy film at the World Fest Houston." I'm like, "I didn't even know we got accepted." And so that's great. Send it over. And so I felt really good about it. It was one of those projects where, you write a script and it's everything it can be and more. And then when you shoot it, it's only what it is. It is what it is. And I felt like that was as close to what I wanted on the page to being put on the screen. I felt like it was done really well. And so after we won that film festival, months later when I found out, I was like, I think I can turn this into a movie. And the director and the DP and the producer at the time were like, I don't see it. And I was like, that's my job. Don't worry about it. And I ended up turning it. I remember my oldest daughter, she was mobile, but not very mobile. She was crawling around. And I was about to have a second daughter. And I was like, I've got, I don't know, 8 weeks before it's about to be full on chaos here in the house with two baby kids. So I was like, I have 8 weeks to turn this thing into a screenplay. And I just went on a bender, and I wrote a 140-page screenplay, and it's called Tinseltown. And one thing led to another where I ended up getting shelved for a while, but I still felt really good about it. I was working on a TV show called Sacred Land. Things happen in development hell, like and I ended up turning that into the book, which and I had so much fun with the book and success with the book that I was like, I'll just take this Tinseltown screenplay and I'll turn it into a book. And so I had written the script in 2018, and I think I published the book in 2020 or 2021. So there's the long-winded answer of when the book was written.
Yeah. Well, we just needed to get it on record so that I love John Fusco's writing though. He's actually might be one of my heroes because my absolute hands down favorite movie of all time is Young Guns. And
Oh yeah.
Young Guns, yeah. So so anyway, whenever I saw that he stole some material from us, I was like, this motherfucker. No, I'm sure it's completely different. And much respect to John Fusco, obviously. But that's cool, man. So you were still in LA whenever you wrote the script.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, that's right. So, you know, the part where Eddie and Michael are running from the fake cops who they think are the real cops, and they end up driving around the reservoir and kind of back in that area. So I was living around there, and we were going on walks all the time at the Hollywood Reservoir,
Mm.
at Lake Hollywood, and I was like, this is a perfect place for this car crash, this car chase gunfight scene to happen, because it's just you can't go fast because of all the turns.
Oh
It's,
yeah, yeah.
you know, they're just kind of like going really slow, and it's this chaotic gunfight that's happening around them.
Okay, yeah. So you were in LA. And I think that was around the time I think you and I met in well, it would have been just prior to the pandemic, I think.
Yeah,
Within months. And whenever I say meet, we had a conversation on the phone. And that's whenever you shared with me, I believe the short film, which is the scene inside the room between.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so was that the full play?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Okay.
see the 33-minute cut
Yeah.
or half an hour or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I believe that
Yeah,
was
that was
it's
it.
been quite a few years and a pandemic ago, so
Yeah, basically.
a lot of life changes. Um yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think and our very good friend Jeremy Denslinger, who you and he were working on a project.
I was working on Sacred Land, and I was shooting Narcos with him in Mexico.
Narcos. Okay, yeah, that's right. Y'all were down in
And
Mexico?
yeah, Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
We were there the month of February 2020, and I think we were on the last flight out of Mexico before the world shut down.
So we talked at so then the pandemic had already happened when we talked for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I
I thought
think
it
it
was I thought
was,
it was months before the shutdown. Well, how long did y'all work together?
we worked about a month on that movie,
Okay.
and then, or on that series, and then we just worked together again in 2023 on the morning show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, very
Oh,
similar role. We were both playing cops, and
right
it
on.
was the 90s again. Yeah.
So I remember he hooked us up because I think you were working on that Sacred Land, and I had done a short recently that was a Western.
Yes,
I was just really kind of starting to get my footing as a producer.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so you said you've been so busy as of late. What's keeping you busy these days?
I'm producing a series called UFO Cowboys on Roku. It's one of Roku's first originals, and it's a TV series about these wild cowboys that chase down UFO phenomenon on horseback. We're in our second season, and we're supposed to air the second season sometime in July or August, I think. Roku loves it. Hopefully, they love the second season. We can go a third. That's what I'm banking on. And I'm producing about two or three different podcasts right now. And um, I was probably for the last 6 months, I was a writer and researcher and producer for Glenn Beck at Blaze Media, Mercury Radio Arts. He's a on-air radio talk personality, talk radio.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
the name. I don't know him that well, but any of his
yeah,
actually, but I know the name for sure.
yeah, he's had a prolific career. He's mentioned in the same circles as Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and like big conservative figures.
Hmm.
But I got to tell you, it was the corporate structure kind of wore me down. We're artists at heart, and I think when we focus on something, we like to singularly focus on that thing and make it the best that it can be. And there is no fudgeable room in the corporate structure. They have the way that things work. They don't really like talent thinking outside of the box. They just want it to be very cookie cutter. And that's fine. They found something that works. But I think one of the major things that wore on me was it wasn't creative, and the news of the day sucks. Every day is terrible, you know?
Oh, so
And
just being around that, just
yeah, yeah, and the stories that come out and all the things, and at some point you got to be like, this world's going to shit, and we're going down with it, and we're not, you think you're fighting the good fight, but you're not making a damn bit of difference. It's like I would imagine it's how DEA agents feel, when they're going on these raids and they're getting the drugs off the streets, but the drug problem is getting worse. And
mm,
so it's like, how do you wake up every day and kick in the next door when no amount of drugs you pull off the street is really going to make an impact because they just keep coming through.
yeah.
Yeah, you got
At
to
which
change.
point in time do you look at it and say it's like there's policies in place that are making it where it's actively fighting against the fight that you're fighting, right?
Yeah,
Policies in
yeah,
place that are not making it possible. So,
yeah, yeah. And I think it's a culture thing too. I think policies
mm,
are bullshit.
mm,
The culture has to change, so you can say this amendment and that amendment, and we should put a law here and a law there. And it's like the laws don't do a damn bit of good for people who want to break it. You've got to change the culture.
mm,
You've got to change what we value and our value system to make an impact. And how do you do that? Politics is, let's see, culture is downstream. What is it? Culture is downstream from entertainment, and politics is downstream from culture. Is that right? So politics is at the very bottom, and entertainment affects the culture, and culture affects the politics. And so
yeah. Well,
it's like,
I think entertainment's supposed to affect culture, but I think there's a counter swing, but there was a time not too far in our past within the last recent years where I felt like art was bowing at the altar of culture. Like art was, and that's maybe where maybe we've gotten muddled with the politics and capitalism, maybe, right? Where it's like we're not able to uh hang on.